Hey, what's going on? This is Mr. E, Excellence Language Facilitating Center. We got a customer service class for you guys. We're talking about language to avoid for calls, emails, and chat. Negative language, translation mistakes, errors of that sort. So my team and I are going to fix this up, these statements, and you know, I've been helping accounts for some time now, and this is the type of language mistakes that I've seen or encountered, especially for a Spanish in a country where Spanish is the mother tongue. So there are translation mistakes going on, cultural misuses of the language and whatnot. So we've got some examples for you. I'm going to add a third one, which is a very common one. May I know the last four of your social? This is another common one. Okay, so this is what we got. Here's an example, right? Let's say that you got a call and somebody's requesting for a tracking of an item, right? But this is not under your scope of support because you work in the sales department or you work in some other type of department, right? So this is a common response that I've seen. For instance, using negative language. Unfortunately, this is not the correct department. We don't track items, and I will transfer you to the proper team. Okay? So here, the negative language would be, for instance, using unfortunate, right? Second thing is the use of correct department. So like what? I just wasted my time, like 20 minutes on hold with you. You know, here we're not softening the negative news, right? We're not giving the customer the no properly. The positioning here is not the correct positioning for a customer. And here, I will transfer you to the proper team. Again, right? Aren't you guys the company? Don't you represent the company? I just wasted my time, 20 minutes, 15 minutes on hold, and now I have to listen to this. So we're going to change this, right? We're going to change this. We're going to recommend something different for you guys to use instead of this. Here's another example. Let's say that your customer hasn't received his order yet, calls in, right? And the agent responds by saying something like, "That's terrible. It's sad to know you haven't received your order yet. No worries, I will help you, okay?" So here, first off, you don't want to use this word, not in an interaction, not in a chat with a customer, especially not avoid it completely on an email. Here's some negative language. It's sad to know. Just the word sad brings everybody down, and you're not focusing on anything good here. You haven't received your order. Yes, it is a form of acknowledgement, but it's just the language that you're using. So here you got terrible and sad. What? And here we got the expression no worries. That could work for a voice account if the account is flexible, right? If they allow you to be more, let's say, of a conversational type with the customer, right? More friendly type of conversation. But some accounts are a bit more formal, so they would score you down if you say something like, "Hey, no worries," or something like that, right? Using slang or things of that sort. I will help you, okay? So the word okay is a weak word. It's a word that's weak. It's not strong. It doesn't convey confidence. As a matter of fact, using an okay at the end of your sentence just makes you sound insecure, completely insecure. I will help you, okay? So, and if your tone isn't confident, it's even worse. I will help you, okay? So, okay is a weak word. We're going to change that for perhaps a power word, right? Or an assurance of help statement. Number 3 here, when we're requesting information from our customer, this is one of the most common mistakes that I've heard, that I've read, that I've seen, and I've seen this throughout voice accounts. I've seen this through email interactions and chat interactions. And here we have the phrase, may I know the last four of your social. The problem is with the verb, right? In Spanish, being the mother tongue of the agents, know is perfectly fine because know means saber. And in Spanish, we normally would say, puedo saber, may I know, which is it's a direct translation from puedo saber. And puedo saber in Spanish means may I know. So this is a translation mistake, just a cultural translation mistake. And for somebody that uses English as their mother tongue, as a first tongue, this could be confusing, right? It could be somewhat confusing because the pushback could be, why? Why do you want to know my stuff? Why do you want to know my social? Why do you want to know my credit card numbers? Why? You want to memorize them, right? So, just put yourself in the customer's place. You yourself don't like people to know. You don't want nobody to know your social security, your DPI number, which is similar to a social security number. You don't want nobody to know your credit card numbers, and you don't want nobody to know your PIN numbers or passwords. They're private, right? So this is completely incorrect. We're going to recommend a different verb. So you receive less pushback with sensitive information like a social security number, right? So let's go ahead. The team and I will work on correcting this language, and we're going to make some recommendations. So team, let's go ahead and do it. Okay, so we're back here, and just a moment ago, the team and I worked together on fixing up these statements with translation mistakes, with negative language, and other things. So this is what we got. So the original. Do you guys remember what was the original? Do you guys have it down there still? Do you guys have it there? All right. So in the original statement, we had some negative languages. So instead of saying unfortunately, we're going to use a phrase like, for instance, I regret to inform you, or I'm afraid to inform you about X or Y situation. So we're positioning the no to the customer, right? I regret to inform you that we don't track packages, but we can definitely resolve this with one of our tracking team members, right? We can definitely resolve this with one of our tracking team members. So instead of saying the proper team or the correct team, we're going to involve everybody in the company, right? So we're going to help you by resolving this through one of our team members or tracking members or shipping experts or whatnot. I'm going to explain to the other team member the situation to avoid repeating yourself, right? So I'm going to explain to the other team member the situation to avoid repeating yourself. If you're going to, for instance, make a warm transfer. Okay, so if you're going to make a warm transfer there, that would be even better. So there you go. We've avoided the negative language. We positioned the no correctly. We sound more cooperative. We sound like we're taking care of it, that we're involving everybody in the company to resolve the issue, and we're not just brushing off the customer to another department. So this is awesome. Okay? Here we changed that negative language to something a bit more better, which is like this. I understand your concern, and let's work together to get you back on track with the delivery of your item. It's the least I can do for you, right? So this is totally different compared to the other statement that we had, which had negative language, and it was kind of confusing. We replaced the word okay for more positive language, right? And more assurance to the customer, right? And we're involving everybody. The customer, right, and the business. So let's together get this resolved, or let's work together. Here we're gonna say let's work together. let's work together, right? You say work here. There you go. That's better. And let's work together to get you back on track. With the delivery of your item, it's the least that I can do. Okay, so this is awesome. For number 3, we were requesting information, but instead of saying no, we're going to use the verb have. Okay? So may I please have your order number? We're going to say have because we just need the information for transactional purposes. We don't want to know, right? We don't want to memorize the customer's personal information. We just need to have that information so we can get our job done. Okay, so there you go. We changed this around to statements that are more that are more assertive, that are more positive. They involve everybody, the customer and the agent in the resolution process, and they're just simply awesome. Okay, and we avoided language translation mistakes. So that's what you're going to do next time. You take a call, interact with the chat, write an email. This is the proper language that we're recommending you guys to use, right? Good work. So going back to the language we should avoid on our calls, on our chats, and emails, especially, just to recap, right, guys? So instead of saying no, what are we going to use? We're going to use have. Absolutely. Have, totally, right? So avoid using no. That would be a mistake there. Negative language, all of this stuff, unfortunate, it's sad, it's horrible, it's terrible. Let's focus more on the resolution part, on the assurance of help part, instead of focusing on the negative language, right? If we're going to position the no, let's make sure to position it correctly, right? And let's focus on options. What options can we offer to the customer instead of just, sounding negative and things like that. But if we sound negative, we're not helping in the resolution process, right? Let's avoid using a simple okay because it's a weak word. It's a weak word. We want to use something more assertive, like a power word instead of that. Like definitely, like an absolutely, etc. Sometimes we're required to be a bit more formal on the calls depending on the account. And avoid idioms or, not idioms, but slang, like phrases like no worries or don't worry or things of that sort. We can replace that with more formal statements like, it's our pleasure, it's the least I can do, it's fine, rest assured, right? We want to avoid phrases like this, I'm sorry, this is not the proper team, or I'm going to connect you to the correct department. It makes the customer feel like they've wasted their time talking to you and waiting on hold. It was useless. So instead of saying that, let's mention the department that we're going to transfer the customer to. Use things like, hey, let's work together on resolving this. Let's work together on your delivery process. Let's work together on getting you the right coverage that you need. It's the least that we can do for you. And language of that sort, it would be much better for you guys to use instead of the common phrases that we use, well, to brush off customers pretty much. And in our next session, we're going to talk about fillers and translation mistakes. It's going to be very interesting, so don't miss that one out. And to wrap it up today, I'd like to hear your takeaways for this class. So team, what are your takeaways? Danny, I think Danny had some great takeaways.
Yeah, definitely. I take away the use the new language and
That's
definitely
right.
avoid the bad language. Like unfortunately, unfortunate, sad, and this.
Exactly right. Avoid phrases like these, right? Like horrible, terrible. Okay, perfect. Takeaways, Mario?
Yeah, besides the new words, the new positive words to use in a conversation or email, actually the word okay is hard for me to stop saying, okay. But now I know it's a weak word, so I'm going to use absolutely, sir.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's a great takeaway. And Stuart, what is your takeaway?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to take away a lot. I learned so much this lesson
Awesome.
because I have I had been looking for another way
Mm-hmm.
to explain to the customers, because I know that how we say the things or the words that we choose, they have a lot of impact in the customer's reaction. So
Totally.
yeah, it's very good. So basically, my takeaways are another way or a better way to speak with the customer.
That's correct. There you go. Thank you very much. And what you said is completely true. What we say will have an influence. What comes out of our mouth will influence the call, definitely, right? So if it's negative language, that's what we're going to have, negative results. If we
That's
are
correct.
brushing off the customer, what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, exactly. And let's involve everybody in the resolution process. Where's change the pronoun to we, like we can handle this, we can work on this, we can resolve this together, so that involves the customer as well in the resolution process as well. Okay guys, so I hope you guys enjoyed a lot, learned a lot, and I'll see you for your next session, in which we will talk about the most common uh, translation mistakes. All right, so don't miss that one out. Okay,
Okay, thank you so
Okay.
much.
thank you
Thank
guys, see you
you.
next time.
Thank
See you
Enjoy
you.
your
guys.
lunch.
Thank you. Okay, good. So customers service class there for you guys. Thank you for connecting. And we're going to have the C1 class until at 4:30. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.
Bye bye.